Tom Cruise didn't just move out of London. He pulled out. This is an actor who builds his life around systems, security, control, predictability. He doesn't drift. He doesn't panic. When he leaves a place this suddenly, it's never casual. Officially, the trigger was an armed daylight raid just steps from his front door. Motorbikes. Machetes. A luxury store smashed open in public view. But that wasn't the story. That was the signal. The real question isn't why Tom Cruise left Knightsbridge. It's whether he decided London itself could no longer guarantee the one thing its most powerful residents expect: confidence. What finally snapped this illusion wasn't a rumor or a statistic. It was a scene that played out in full daylight, right below the kind of buildings meant to be untouchable. Last week, an armed moped gang stormed a Rolex boutique in Knightsbridge. Not at night. Not subtly. In the middle of the day. Motorbikes rammed in from both sides. Machetes were swung. Sledgehammers smashed strengthened glass as security guards tried, and failed, to stop it. This wasn't a smash and grab. It was organized, rehearsed, and fearless. And the detail that matters most isn't how many watches were taken. It's where this happened. Just steps from the multi-million-pound apartments where Tom Cruise was living. The kind of address where safety is assumed, not negotiated. The entire raid lasted around 3 minutes. But that number is misleading. Because psychologically, it lasted much longer. It said something out loud that London's most elite postcodes usually whisper away. If this can happen here, in broad daylight, with cameras rolling and people watching, then nowhere in the system is really secure. This wasn't just a robbery. It was the moment the illusion broke. Knightsbridge operates on an unwritten contract. You pay unusual prices not just for property, but for insulation, from chaos, from unpredictability, from risk. Safety here isn't marketed as a perk. It's assumed as a baseline. That's why celebrities choose it. Not for attention, but for normality. The ability to walk, to move, to exist without recalculating every step. Tom Cruise lived that version of Knightsbridge. Early morning runs through Hyde Park. Silent walks across South Carriage Drive. A routine built on the idea that this was one of the few places in a global city where visibility didn't automatically mean vulnerability. But routines only work when the environment stays stable. When mopeds start circling. When daylight crimes become expected rather than shocking. When security becomes reactive instead of preventative. That contract starts to fray. No one officially calls it decline. That word is avoided. Instead, people say the area has changed. That it feels different. But for someone like Cruise, who calculates risk for a living, different is often the first warning sign that the system no longer holds. In places like Knightsbridge, perception is the real currency. A brand expert put it plainly: image isn't decoration here, it's infrastructure. Glamour, prestige, safety. These aren't abstract ideas. They're the foundation everything else sits on. Celebrities like Tom Cruise don't just live in these areas. They anchor them. Their presence signals stability, desirability, and control. When they are seen walking the streets, it reassures everyone else that the system is working. That's why the warning embedded in this story matters. Because glamour is delicate. It doesn't collapse slowly. It cracks suddenly. One visible failure can undo years of reputation building. When high-profile residents start silently leaving, the damage isn't just symbolic. Retailers feel it. Property values react. Confidence drains before numbers ever catch up. And here's the question no one wants to ask out loud. If the people who can afford the most security, the most protection, the most insulation, decide it's no longer enough, what does that say about everyone else still inside the system? What happened next wasn't dramatic. And that's what makes it revealing. There was no announcement. No statement. No attempt to spin the story. Tom Cruise simply left. Concierge staff at the Knightsbridge building were reportedly stunned. One day, he was there. The next, teams were seen removing boxes from the penthouse overlooking Hyde Park. Quietly. Efficiently. No spectacle. That silence matters. Cruise is not impulsive. His entire career is built on preparation and redundancy. When he moves, it's because a calculation has already been completed. And the speed of this exit is the detail that changes everything. There was no drawn-out transition. No wait and see. Whatever threshold he uses for risk had already been crossed. This wasn't a reaction to a headline. It was the implementation of a decision. In systems terms, this is what a controlled withdrawal looks like. When confidence drops below a tolerable level, you don't argue with the environment. You leave it behind. Because the moment a place stops being walkable for the people it was designed to protect, prestige isn't just damaged, it's broken. And if you want to understand how power, perception, and reputation collapse in real time, make sure you're subscribed. This story goes deeper. Officially, Knightsbridge and Belgravia are stable. The Met Police reports say homicide is at its lowest in over a decade. Crime figures, on paper, appear under control. But the reality on the streets tells a different story. Armed daylight raids. Moped gangs dividing up prime areas. Brutal stabbings near luxury hotels. One recent case, the death of 24-year-old Blue Stevens, happened just a stone's throw from the Rolex store. His killer remains at large. Numbers can be comforting, but they only tell part of the story. Residents experience fear in real time, not in spreadsheets. They see the gaps in security, the visible brazen acts, and the sense that the law is sometimes a step behind. This is the tension that makes departures like Cruz's meaningful. He didn't move because statistics were bad. He left because the system's signals, what he could see, measure, and feel, no longer matched the image that Knightsbridge depends on. In elite circles, perception often outweighs data. And in this case, insight told a far darker story than the official numbers ever could. Knightsbridge isn't just losing faith, it's losing value. Property prices are falling sharply. Homes once selling for tens of millions are sitting empty. Rusting for sale signs mark buildings that should be untouchable. It's not just crime. Uncertainty over taxes, including the new mansion surcharge, has made wealthy residents rethink their commitments. High-net-worth individuals are leaving the UK in record numbers, a silent migration that signals far more than headlines ever capture. Every empty penthouse, every stalled sale, is a visible vote of no confidence. When fear meets policy pressure, the market responds immediately, and it responds brutally. The combination of brazen street crime and financial uncertainty compounds the message. For someone like Tom Cruise, it's not enough to tolerate isolated incidents. He reads the patterns, and the pattern in Knightsbridge is clear. The prestige is eroding, and money always follows perception. The story isn't just about crime or property prices. It's about the people who give a city its shine. Celebrities like Tom Cruise, Madonna, the Beckhams, they are more than residents. They are anchors of perception. Their presence signals that a city is desirable, controlled, worth investing in. When they leave, the message is louder than any press release or statistic. Cities compete on perception, not just policy. Dubai offers safety, certainty, and discretion. London offers culture, history, and prestige, but only as long as its elite feel protected. When high-profile figures start silently relocating, it's a warning shot. A city that loses its stars risks losing more than its charm. It risks losing the very confidence that makes wealth, influence, and commerce want to stay. And that's a vulnerability that numbers alone can never capture, only the absence of those who were meant to validate it. Cruz didn't leave Knightsbridge because of one robbery. He left because the system he relied on had silently failed. In leaving, he became a signal, not the story. His departure exposes what few want to admit. Prestige is delicate. Perception is everything. And once the trust that underpins a city's elite ecosystem breaks, it rarely comes back.